Everyone. I am super excited to be sharing with you some standards-based grading updates, and I just wanted to send you this quick video so that I could also show you how to locate the resources that go along with standards-based grading. As most of you are aware, standards-based grading now spans kindergarten through 5th grade. That change was made this past summer. For most of you at East, this will not be a drastic change as we actually launched standards-based grading for all grade levels back in January. But the district has also moved in that direction. They have adopted some of our resources from East, and so a lot of our rubrics and things like that look slightly different. So I wanted to give you an overview of all the things that are available to you. I am currently looking at the Reporting Progress tab of our East internal webpage. My interface looks slightly different from yours because I am in Editor's view, but the functionality is still the same. You would go to the internal webpage, click on Reporting Progress, which is where you see me at the moment, and scroll down to Standards-Based Grading Resources. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you specifically about the rubrics and the gradebooks. I will address the midterm reports and the report cards at a later date because while those documents have been developed, they're not finalized yet. The rubric is where you will start your conversation. You will actually begin the standards-based grading conversation with your collaborative planning team in planning with Ms. Stokes. You all will be working to unpack standards this year to decide, what the rigor of that standard is and how you're going to assess it, what type of assessment tools you're going to use, and what the expectation for mastery is. And so the rubrics are housed here and should be pulled up during collaborative planning to discuss. I'm going to use a second grade example, but you see the other grade levels are listed there as well. And when that folder opens, you'll see that you now have access to the rubrics, the midterm progress report, and the report card. Again, tonight I'm just focusing on the rubrics. When the rubrics open, you will see a title page followed by an introductory page. I would like to highly suggest that everyone read through this page. Even though we launched this last year at East, there are some things that are new here, not drastically new, but they would be very helpful for you to read over. The biggest change that has been made is that your curriculum guides, which are linked here, now are aligned to your standards-based grading rubrics, which that is the document you're viewing now, but they are also aligned to your midterm progress report and your report card. Many of you recall last year having conversations that there were misalignment between the standards that were scheduled to be taught and those that were reported on each quarter on the report card, and then the progress report was just different for every school and every grade level. So all of that has been aligned. You will also notice that there is a feedback form linked here. I encourage you, as you talk with your collaborative planning teams, you will probably notice some mistakes, some rubrics that need to be developed. We've done them for all of the focus standards, but not all of the incorporated standards. So you may want a rubric for that. You may want to suggest revisions or any number of different things, and this is the form that you will use to do that. Again, I suggest doing that as a team. You will also notice the expectations for standards-based grading in general, having 3 work samples per standard. And you will also notice a link to the standards-based gradebook, which I will touch on shortly. So this is a very important page to focus on whenever you start this process. If I scroll down, it also gives you some tips for how to utilize these rubrics. This document is 30-some pages long. You do not want to print this very frequently or at all. So it tells you how to copy and paste the rubrics to attach to student work samples and conserve paper and time. I should also mention that when we are attaching these work samples, those work samples should go home with students each week in their Tuesday folder so that parents know where their child is performing. The next page is aligned to your curriculum guide, and it gives you the standards per quarter. In some cases, a standard will be reported on each quarter, like RF4, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and so on, but the rigor of that rubric may change. So it's important that you go to the correct quarter for your standard and reporting. I'm going to go to quarter 3 just for an example. You will see then your standards-based measures, LPME. Think about this like riding a bike. If you are unable to ride a bike, you might be trying, but you're not able to do it. You need significant modeling and support from your parents. That means you are limited. Again, this is not that you are not trying or not submitting your work. It means that you need assistance significantly. Progressing means you're riding it now with training wheels and you're doing a decent job at that, but you still need support and modeling. Meets, your training wheels have now come off, you're able to do it independently, and you're meeting the grade level expectation. And exceeds might mean that you're popping wheelies or taking curves very quickly or doing other tricks. Right below, you see the standard, in this case RF4, followed by a descriptor for each of those standards-based measures of progress. So this is the grade level expectation. If a child goes home with a meets, the parent might say, well, how do I exceed? They could look to this column. Or a child may go home with a grade or a measure of limited. And if the child and parent want to know how to improve, they could look to the progressing column and the meets column to see where they need to make changes. So it's very important that the rubrics go home attached to the work sample, if there is one, each week in the Tuesday folder. Now, I said if there is a work sample. I do not want you to feel like you have to make lengthy paper pencil based assessments for every single standard and every measure that you send home. One of them or two of them should be paper pencil in some way, but one might be an observation, and you would just want to note that on the rubric, that this was an observation. One might be a paper pencil exit ticket, short, sweet, to the point. Attach the rubric to the exit ticket, and you're done. One might be more of a formal quiz, a assessment. One might be a performance task. And we intend on providing additional professional development to you as far as options for work samples at a later date. But if you need assistance with that more urgently, we're happy to help you with that. So all of your rubrics are here for the focus standards for ELA and for math for the year in one document. You can copy and paste them out and attach them to student work samples. You would want to utilize the feedback form to propose new rubrics for incorporated ELA and math standards, for social studies and science standards, or to propose revisions or changes to any of these rubrics. Once you have the rubric, you know how you're assessing students. You have started measuring their progress and attaching these to their work samples. You'll need a way to keep track of their measures of progress or their grades for the quarter. It's very important that you keep track of this. You're sending some work samples home, you're keeping some for data notebooks. Either way, you've got to have a record of how your children are performing so that you can give them an accurate measure of progress at the end of the quarter. For that, you will want to go back to the internal page and open up your gradebook. You will only need to do this one time per year. If I click here, it is going to ask me to make a copy because you don't want to be editing someone else's second grade gradebook. If you click this button and click Make a Copy, it will open up a gradebook that looks like this. You will want to immediately rename it Miss Weritz or insert your name. Second grade gradebook. Name it something that you will be able to easily find every day because you're going to be grading things daily. You'll also then want to come over here and hit Share. It's important that you share this document immediately with myself, Dr. Johnson, Ms. Stokes, and Ms. Hudson in the front office. It's important that we have these just so that we can support you through planning, but also in the event that you are absent and we need to work on grades for you. Once you have shared that, read over the Intro tab, and then you may enter your grades into quarter one. You'll enter your student names here, so this might be Judith, followed by Eric, followed by Jennifer. You'll enter assignment names beside the corresponding standard here. Don't panic. This looks like a lot of standards in column B, but they've already been copied and pasted 3 times because you will need 3 work samples for every standard. So for the first sample for RF4, you'll type in the name, type in Judith's grade. She earned a P. The second work sample, we'll type in there, Judith's grade, a P. The third sample, Judith's grade, an M. Judith's grade for RF4 for quarter 1 is an M. We are not averaging her grades. Her most recent measure for that standard is her grade. If you scroll down, you will notice math standards are listed in red, followed by science in green and social studies in orange. Those are all of your standards for quarter 1. So all of your grades and measures of progress for all of your students for quarter 1 will be on the same spreadsheet. If you flip over to quarter 2, there is one notable difference. Any repeating standards are in gray. This means you now only need 1 sample for that. RF4, you now only need 1 because it was reported on the first time during quarter 1. So keep that in mind. Grayed out standards are reported only once. The literacy year-long standards are still reported 3 times, but any others are just reported 1 time. There's also a notable difference in the COVID gap column. Last year we missed a significant amount of instruction due to the COVID outage. Any standards that were not able to be taught and assessed or measured last year have the lower grade level standard noted. So you'll see that this is first grade's RL5, right beside second grade's RL5, which is a reporting standard, which means that you may need to go back into that first grade standard and pre-teach some of that before you can teach the second grade standard and measure it. That is done for all content areas. Quarters 3 and 4 are already there as well. So this one gradebook will be utilized by you to keep track of student measures of progress for the entire year. I'm stopping here with this video. I will resume with another video to address progress reports and report cards at a later date when those are final copies. If you have questions about rubrics or how to keep track of your grades, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are happy to assist.